Sorry, did I let it run for more than 30 seconds? I was blowing my nose during that time.
Certain things you don't have to tell us. It's okay.
I know.
You don't need to explain. Do what you got to do.
DN, do not explain. DNE.
So yeah,
Benita
so
Lee
we
here.
determined on our wonderful book, which I will take full responsibility, blame for, recommended.
Oh, really?
Um,
You
you know, I
recommended
mean,
this book.
I mean, you guys also voted for it, but I'll take full blame for nominating it. So we've got two known DNFs, did not finish. We've got two known DNLs, did not like, and I guess I'd go with myself being a DNCF, did not care for.
Hilarious.
um, so yeah,
Okay, well, I'm Benita Lee. This is Virtual Book Club. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I am hosting this from Calgary, Alberta, and I'm going to go around the table. And I was one of the DNFs. Did not finish.
I don't know how we're seated around the table, but
Yeah, we'll go by what order you came in.
okay. Hal Garin in Central Florida, and I was the did not care for. And the sole owner of the I recommended this book award.
I like how you like just take full accountability and you just you embrace it.
Well, you know, I'll balance it out with I also did recommend the one
Yes,
who plays chess. So, you know, I
that's
mean,
true. I don't
so,
have that.
you know, I got a 500 batting average, which isn't bad.
I don't have that. Ference?
Yeah, so this is Ferenc from Malaga, Spain, and I'm in the did not like group.
DNL.
Stephen Eng, New York. I was the other DNL.
Michelle Frenier from Vermont, and I'm the other DNF. Did not finish. Could not bear it. And then as soon as I saw our group chat where everyone was bailing or didn't like it, I gave myself permission to stop the audible torture, even though the book was free to me. It was terrible, and I'm glad for it.
Yeah, like I think I could have finished if it was Audible, but I couldn't find it on Audible. It
Really?
wasn't
Oh,
available in Canada.
I don't know. The
Oh,
guy's voice and the absurdness of the book together were a lot for me. That's where I stopped.
Well,
I think
well,
they were patching pieces of something together, and I was like, I can't continue to listen to this. Where they had like I don't remember even what it was, but
I don't know. The
to
truth is
come
hard
to
to compare
Audible's
for me.
defense in Canada, Benita, we've certainly proven with current events that the Canadians are a hell of a lot smarter than the Americans.
Is that right?
Based on current events,
Oh, yeah, like um
we don't have to go there. That's okay.
yeah, no, I mean we will be going there like in our next book.
uh, the topic was fine. I think it was the way that he delivered it. He went a bit heavy on the research studies, which um, I can't exactly well blame him for, because he does need like hard facts to back up everything he argues, but still it was a bit much for me to handle, and I'm not suggesting that it had any impact, on my dietary choices, because I don't eat chips or junk food
What?
for that matter. But it's it was tedious. Like I didn't care for most of it, and just for simplicity's sake, that's why I lean towards DNL.
What's interesting to me is I just looked again because I remembered it being highly rated, with almost 1,700 Amazon ratings. It rates out at a 4.6. And even more interesting, Goodreads is always lower, and it is, than Amazon at 4.4, with almost 45,000 ratings. So, I mean, 4.5, is a overall is a pretty solid rating for a book. So I
Oh, it
wonder.
totally is, and I can see how that would happen. I mean, he belongs to a scientific community where, remember at the beginning of the book, they talk about how snobby they are about papers? And so, like, for him to write this book that is conversational and, like, storytelling is amazing instead of, like, a medical paper to
I don't
teach.
know. I mean, the ratings don't equate to the conclusion that we all came to, and I certainly, almost exclusively agree with you guys' opinions more so than what other people have to say, on evaluating books. I
Well,
was
also,
curious because I was wondering what we would talk about. So after our call 2 weeks ago, I started tracking. I already tracked my caloric intake, but I figured I'd break it down between
Ooh.
ultra processed and non ultra processed foods. And two observations did occur to me by doing that for almost 2 full weeks. One was, about on average, on a daily basis, 2/3 of my food consumption does come from, and I got to do air quotes, ultra processed foods. But what
mhm,
was the biggest realization for me was that, it's binary. It either is or it isn't an ultra processed food. So if
right.
I mean, foods are supposed to, when they list their ingredients, they're supposed to list them in the order of the contribution to volume. So you'll see a lot of foods might
Right.
list water first, or something like that. But, and then it's supposed to be listed in decreasing volume. And the aha I had, even though it's not really rocket science or anything, is that, there might be a food that I ate that had one or two things that might not be found in my kitchen, but they were listed near the end. So the vast majority of the content of that food would have not been ultra processed. But I counted it as that, as if it was, just as on an equal basis as one that had a bunch of weird stuff right near the beginning of the list of ingredients.
Yeah. I couldn't find one thing except for, like, an orange or a banana or a blueberry. Not one thing. And then I started wondering, I started ordering bread from the bakery and wondering if that was better because it was, like, baked that day, and they didn't have to put a whole bunch of, preservatives into it so it doesn't mold. But you have to eat it within 2 days, otherwise it's not good anymore.
I mean, I think that's a proxy for it probably doesn't have a bunch of ultra processed stuff in it, as if it molds relatively quickly.
Right. Right. Yeah.
During the same time that we're reading this, my son has a foods class in high school, and his final project was a group presentation on a controversial food topic. And so
Ooh.
I'm ready to go after him and say, did you do your work? Is it prepped? What does your exam look like? And he really didn't want to show me what he'd put together. And he claimed that it was not, first it was a group presentation. And I said, well, can you show it to me? He's like, it's not, I don't have it here. And I'm like, well, that's not true. Everything's Google Classroom. Can you show it to me? And then he says, well, Mom, no, I was kidding about that. We're going to do a mystery basket and we're just going to have to cook something on the fly. And I said, and I looked at him, I'm like, I'm not that stupid, but like, you don't want to show me what you put together. He's like, well, fine, I'll show it to you. He goes, but I have a group member that I'm supposed to do this with. And so he opened it and it was pretty shoddy. It was like two people who didn't care putting it together. And I said, well, you have Google. It will track who did the inputs to the final project. So if your professor wants to look at it and say, hey, who did their work and who didn't, they'll be able to see your timestamp on it and that you contributed. So I encouraged him to sit there and edit it while I was going through it. Now he's a sophomore in high school and he's trying to be funny. So the whole thing had memes and all kinds of silly stuff, but it was also about why GMOs are good for you or good for us as a society. And I was like, oh boy, buddy. So when Stephen, when you say, hey, he had to have some scientific backup or some cites for his words, that's exactly what I did with him. I said, go down through the whole thing. Every outlandish thing you put up here, it better have a cite. I'm like, you need to, he had one link on his sites page. I said, this is not going to work. You're going to need to fatten it up. And when he got to the point where he was saying why GMOs are good for us because it makes it so much cheaper to like produce things. And his meme was a happy dancing um, leader of the country that I live in. And I was like, that has to come down. I'm like, you cannot use that. I was like,
Oh,
I said, here's the thing, bud. I said, social awareness, and he's a little bit like young Sheldon. He likes to he's very clinical about stuff, and he didn't see the problem. And I said, well, it ties together a controversial topic that all of this junk that's been done to our society and our food is somehow wonderful because it's cheaper, and then associates it with somebody who's like doing some pretty radical things with what we know to be normal around here. So I said, you got to take it down. So he goes on the internet and he just goes dancing man and grabs the first dancing man he sees and puts the picture in its place and moves on. So I was dying. I was like, okay, it's funny. And he had made another joke about what happens to our food when you alter it. And he put the scene in from Jurassic Park and he labeled it Angry Chicken. And I was like, yes, that is a very angry chicken. So it was quite funny, kind of parallel to what we were looking at. But when
Did
high schoolers ask to be controversial, that's what they do.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Well,
Well,
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I don't think it's actually that. I don't know. If we all ate organic food, there wouldn't be enough food for everyone on Earth. So,
that was one of his arguments that it helps the growing seasons. And there was another one where they had the topic of yellow rice, how they grew rice with beta carotene in it so that it would grow as a yellow grain, and that
oh,
somehow that by doing that, that was going to sort of help boost the
nutrition.
nutritious content, yeah, of this stuff. And
Right.
I'm like, it's probably a stretch. He goes, no, I have proof. And he goes to the website, he pulls it down. I said, well, put that on your sites. We went through the different reasons, but a lot of it was about being able to grow things where other things can't grow. And it reminded me of
Our
the
book.
gentleman
Yeah.
that and the gentleman that joins our book club sometimes. I'm losing his name, but he has all the water reservoirs on his property where
Oh,
he's done like the
Michael.
irrigation. Yes, it reminded me of that, where it's a struggle to grow in certain areas and what it takes to do that.
Yeah, no, I can go on for days about um that topic, GMOs, and yeah, no, like basically I can afford what I can afford to eat right now, and I do my groceries from Walmart.
Is
I've
it,
never done my groceries from Walmart before.
do they have to label things in Canada of GMO? Is that a requirement?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you have to
but
do it in
you
Vermont. I
can't
don't
trust
know
it.
about
Like
Florida.
it's it's like you can't trust it. Like Canada is a vast place where there's wind, and it's like if one farmer is growing GMO on his farm, unless you're on an island somewhere where their seeds won't get into your land, you can't, like,
Yeah.
just because you know what I mean. Like it's just I don't know. We could go on forever. I would have to call my agronomist friend. It's hard to find organic, and because it's so cold here, right? And we have to get our food from far away places. Like if I want oranges from Florida or California or wherever, um, I'm probably paying like $10 a bag.
Yeah, it's wild how much, like, I had taken a picture of a French macaroon that was at Costco, and I sent it to my buddy that lives in Paris. I'm like, legit, or should I put this crap back? Like, because it was going to be for, like, it's an all natural. There were no dyes in it and stuff. And I'm like, and they were heart shaped. And I'm like, well, I could put them in my fridge until Valentine's Day, and that could be the family Valentine that we share or whatever. And he looked at it, gave it the A plus, that it was a proper brand and that it would be worth putting it in my fridge. So for $10, I took it home. Well, then he like texts me back. He goes, "Wait a minute, where do you get strawberries this time of year?" And because he saw a package of strawberries in my cart, and I'm like, they actually look like they're pretty good. They say they're grown in the US. I'm like, I don't know if they're hydroponic or from where. And he's like, wow, you guys live in the future. That's what his comment was, that you can't get the strawberries. Like for him, he's like, you guys live in the future. I'm like, that's wild. I never thought about how accessing things off season was sort of a no-go in some places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we can get things here in Canada in off season, but pretty much everything is off season for us.
But a lot of fruits and vegetables, if you pay attention to it, at least what I find in Florida, is, it's come from Mexico, it's come from Chile, it's come from, it rarely is coming from anywhere in the United States. Um,
These are great
so
points. I'm glad everyone's looking at their maiden labels.
it doesn't
Yeah,
change what I buy, but it's just kind of it's interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
even Chinese vegetables, a lot of them
Yeah.
come from Mexico and Central American countries. Like the Chinese eggplant that's in my refrigerator right now, that's from Honduras.
Then it's not a Chinese eggplant. It's an Honduran eggplant.
No, Benita, it's Chinese eggplant grown in a plantation in Honduras. Know the difference.
Got
Um,
it.
and I'm
I
sure in China they're growing, Honduran eggplants.
Right.
I go to the Asian market in a couple towns over from us, and they buy everything. I think they go to like New Jersey or New York to the ports and buy their stuff.
Mm,
Because nothing's ever marked where it's grown. You got me thinking now. In a typical grocery store, everything's got those stickers on it with a little label and all that, or like the um, twist tie that's branded, and their vegetables never do. And I always go into the case and I'm like, whoa, what even is that? I spend probably 20 minutes evaluating what I'm looking at for different vegetables and fruits and things that are available there.
right.
Um, but the
Next, you
prices
could
are so
Google
much better.
recipes.
Yeah. No,
You know what I mean?
most of the time I'm sticking to like what the kids will eat because by the time I get done, but my daughter from Japan like has like specific things she likes, so I take a lot of that back. But when I like the Napa cabbage, if you go to the regular store, one of those is almost $20 by weight.
Whoa.
You go to the Asian market, it's like $1.20 a pound. So I
Wow.
always make a
Yes.
like a U-turn to go get it there. And I love it for salads and all kinds of things. Hot pot, all I put it in everything. So I make sure to drive the extra mile to save the money because and the stuff at the regular grocery store here is really gross. It looks like it's been used as a football, like kicked around before you get it.
Oh,
And theirs is always so nice. But
yeah. Like a lot of these vegetables, like don't even come with sticker labels. Like when I'm Asian grocery shopping, I look at the original like box packages because a lot of them would list the country where they were grown.
yes. Yeah, they unload everything into the cooler case, the one I go to, probably to keep it even
Mhm.
fresher, because it's a lot farther away to get it. Um, but I love that you can walk through the aisles and they'll just see like a box of fish on the floor on ice. I'm like, that's awesome. Like we don't get that where we are. That is like an outing to be able to get stuff that they've just driven up from the city. It's amazing.
Yeah. Uh, um, I personally like, well, even though I have access to like all different foods, like even off season, because that's New York. Like I still try not to shop off season, if that makes sense. I prefer to eat like fruits and vegetables like that are in season because I just know that they're gonna taste better and they're gonna be better for me.
Yeah, usually that's better price, better quality, so it's a win.
What kind of bread did you make, Prince?
Uh, it was my wife, so the only thing I know, it had flour in it, and it was this big, and that's all my
Ah, you're
expertise in bread
lucky.
making.
You're the expert tester. That sounds like an amazing thing.
Yes.
That's nice.
Yeah, and that festive bread that you showed me, what was that called again? During Christmas?
Oh, that was more of a like a
Was it a
cake
Hungarian
thing
thing?
than a bread. It was something called bagli. I'm gonna drop it into the chat later. It's you have to make a dough and then fill it with poppy seeds and sugar, roll it up, put it to the oven, bake it, and that's what we eat every Christmas and every Easter.
It sounds healthy.
It's loaded with sugar, so not amazingly healthy, but tastes really good and it's nice.
Yeah.
And healthier than the stuff you can buy, the prepackaged craziness in the shops. Obviously, it's healthier than those because you know what's in there and you can control how much sugar you want to put in there. So in that sense, it's a healthier choice, but it's still like not things you need. It's more things you want.
Right. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that he talked about in his book was in ultra processed people, scientist, doctor, and award winning broadcaster Chris Van, is it Tulleken? Takes us along on his scientific, medical, culinary, and cultural journey into the system that supplies our calories, speaking to leading experts from academia, medicine, agriculture, public policy, and most importantly, the industry itself, presenting for the first time the full story of how UPF is designed and marketed to be addictive. Okay, let's talk about that addiction part because like I'm just thinking like I'm just thinking like maybe the truth needs to be regulated.
Well, I mean, the food companies are just, they're smart, and so the two reasons they're adding stuff to food is to increase the shelf life and increase our desire to want to eat it in quantity, more quantity than we probably should, and so they're constantly, it is rational behavior for them to constantly be tweaking, in their laboratories to try to test stuff on, how can we extend shelf life and how can we, make the food, in essence, addictive. Not only do you want to open the can of Pringles, but the minute you decide, I think I've had enough, and you look in the can and there's two left. You eat it. They want you to eat beyond the point of when you're actually full.
Right.
It's rational behavior. But what it's doing is,
But
beyond the
should it
fact
be?
of the chemicals and modified stuff that we wouldn't, buy in a store or have in our kitchen, um, you know, and and what it's doing to our body, um, chemically, but what it's doing to our bodies because of the quantities that we eat. You look at some of these ultra processed foods, and many of them are relatively high in caloric content.
Mm-hmm.
And we probably, I mean, tracking calories, because I just do that. I try to keep under 2,000 calories a day, and I rarely ever do it. And I can track my weight. If I consistently stay above 2,000 calories, I start gaining weight. If I consistently stay below 2,000 calories a day, I start losing weight. And if I stay in that 2,000 to 2,200 calorie range, you know I basically stay about level on it. But you start, one, if you go to a restaurant, forget it. One meal will blow your caloric intake in most restaurants for the day. And if you're not conscious of, filling yourself up with low caloric foods, like raw vegetables, like fruits, and things like that, you're just gonna run the table, on calories. But most of the food companies, unless they're trying to market their stuff as air quotes light, and that's a relative term, or diet, it's just that it's less calories than their full calorie option. Doesn't
Right.
mean
And
it's
it's
low
actually like
calorie.
worse
It
for
doesn't
you or
mean it's
something.
low fat. And so, I mean, I didn't learn, I may not have learned a lot from the book, but I learned a lot of subtle things over the last 2 weeks by just tracking things more closely. Here's it's a no duh conclusion, but it became pretty obvious to me that if you microwave something to cook it, it's almost exclusively an ultra processed food. Now, if you microwave something to warm it up, like last night's, grilled salmon,
Yeah.
it doesn't change, then there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going from the freezer to the microwave to your mouth, it's ultra processed.
Well, yeah, same thing with like taking a snack, taking a something out of the cabinet and then ripping off the packaging and then like pouring scalding hot water over it, and then it goes into your mouth. That that's it's an even more obvious form of UPF.
You mean like the 50-cent ramen noodles?
Yes, and also Keurig pods for those who drink coffee.
Hmm.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because with instant coffee, like you're literally burning through like a plastic round pod just to um, heat up the coffee in under 2 minutes.
You would think that that would result in transfer of microplastics, which I never thought of, but
Oh,
We're
here, I might
Yeah,
as well ruin your whole
starving.
day, Hal. The plastics that are in all of our black plastic kitchen tools and plastic, any, the one that kills me is my drip pot, right? Like I don't have Keurig anymore, but I do have a drip pot and that has plastic in the catch to like where the water goes through and everything. They're saying that the recycling was done improperly for a while and electronic black plastic got put into the till and made into the resins that people use for recycled plastic to make our food grade things. And that we really shouldn't use anything made of black plastic in our house. So every time I make my coffee in my regular pot, I'm like, yep, like what's going on here? Because it's very hard to find unless you use a traditional method to find a coffee pot, an electric one that just does it for you, that doesn't have some kind of black plastic in it. Uh,
what do you think
So
of,
hard to
back
find.
in the, I guess in the, certainly in the 1950s and 1960s when, DuPont had created that miracle non-stick formula called Teflon, and everybody was buying all their cookware with Teflon because it wouldn't stick. And it turns out that, DuPont knew it and they were lying all along. And it was, forever chemicals that, once it transferred into our body, it never left.
Yeah, I think
And, that was another realization for me over the last couple of weeks, paying more attention is, again, another no duh conclusion, but the level of trust we place
I know.
in the stuff we put in our mouth that we just don't even think about, you know, where we might be more skeptical about so many other things in our life, we're not very, most people, I'm not saying, each of you, but most people are not discerning at all. They just trust that, if I bought it and it's edible and I put it in my mouth, it must be fine.
Right. Yeah, no, we've become conditioned. And the darn thing about it is that like the human life expectancy has extended. And we've been able to feed more and more people on Earth. So there's like, I'm glad he did this research because like we need voices like that too.
the the book I did not finish, but
Mhm.
I had this burning thing in my mind while reading it, and it was the marking of everything like no MSG, no MSG, no MSG. So while we're on this call, I'm like looking up what is MSG and why is it in stuff and everything. And who knows? I'm on a website for a company that makes food that contains it. So maybe I'm got the wrong place to look, but it looks like it's produced by fermentation according to like this. But I'm wondering what is the hubbub? Does anybody know the backstory? Did he cover it in the book? Like, why is MSG considered an ultra processed? Is it anything bad? Or why do we care if it's in something or not? I guess in the US.
I
That's
think
what I
a
need to
lot of
know.
people are allergic to it.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and
Yeah, there are people will definitely. There's been a correlation in some people with MSG consumption and headaches and migraines.
Okay.
I mean, what it does is, it acts as a preservative and it increases the sensory
Yeah.
in your mouth of, a salty taste.
Yeah. It was saying it's like one of the original forms of like umami like, and that it's such a good
Mhm.
thing. And I'm like, so yes, because when I put it in food, it does taste amazing, but everything's labeled does not contain, as if it's the gold star over like not having it is better than having it in your food. And so my brain has always been triggered to say, well, if they're taking the time to tell me it doesn't have it, it's probably bad for you. But then I'm looking at it, I'm like reading stuff that doesn't even, like, it doesn't track with what my assumption was of it for so many years. Because it's in a lot of the food that are sauces and like dashi has it in it, and that's super helpful if I'm gonna start stock without having to like build it up,
Yeah.
manually. But then I was like, oh gosh, it's got that stuff in it. So I was
Well,
like,
and
I'm
also,
gonna ask if it was in the book or if you
I
guys
don't.
know.
No, it wasn't in the book at all. Because I finished the book,
No.
and also to your point, Michelle, the constituent components of MSG, as in like the individual ions that comprise it, are like naturally occur in a lot of everyday foods that we eat. Cheese and tomatoes, just to name a few examples, because they have the chemical components of what we would consider umami. And there are people, at least in the states, that react, that have stronger reactions to sodium, which is like the
It's
sensation of what's
ultra-processed sodium,
triggered by MSG. First you feel an umami sensation on your tongue, but then the sodium, but then the sodium component quickly like kicks in, and then you feel thirsty. That's the basis of the
Interesting.
discontent. Yeah.
Yeah, because this says MSG can be a key in reducing sodium content. And that's blowing my mind too. I'm thinking like all these years, don't touch that. It has MSG. It's probably so salty, so bad for you. And this is saying that it's got less like than just one third of the sodium of table salt, which is, and again, I'm reading it from a website of a company who produces food with it in it. So I take that with a grain of salt, but it's
yeah.
easier to read and all the,
Was that a
and
pun?
looking, yeah, it's easier to read. Um, yeah, and it's been discovered 100 years ago.
Wow.
So my whole brain is, unless this is all fake, but this is a Japanese food brand that we buy, and it has like charts and I don't know. Very cool. I've learned new things.
Yeah, we are so misinformed about um, what goes into our mouth and things that are at a grocery store.
Here I am complaining, like wanting to know what is this and why is this dangerous label that have the crap at the bottom of the label, all the dyes and all the things they don't allow in Europe, and we just eat it without a question. We're like, sure, let me have all this chemicals, yum, and we never say a word. Interesting.
So, um, I found this copy of 1929 on eBay, and it's a it's a paperback, and it's $62.41. So I think I'm gonna sell my hard copy, for 120. Isn't that ridiculous?
Either something really strange happened with the exchange rate, I don't know, or that's
Right?
crazy at cost.
That's
I mean, I got mine. It was the same price as it was on Amazon for a hard copy book when I was in one of the warehouse stores. I was in BJ's or Sam's. I can't remember, and it was like 20 some dollars for the US for the hardbound book.
Yeah, I got mine for like $27 for the hard copy too.
Yeah.
I read the first part.
I'm almost a third the way through. It is definitely interesting, but it's all of the build to the main event.
Yeah, I like that.
Up to the point, so it's introducing all of the key characters, and doing a really, some books don't do a good job of it, but when it's factual, but personalizing the individuals.
Yeah.
So I am enjoying it. I feel like I'm still stuck in the pregame show, and I want kickoff to occur.
Yeah. What I appreciate is that it's not gonna talk about like the mayhem after. It's gonna talk about what was happening before the lead up to, 1929's greatest crash in Wall Street. And it's not because we know what happens after. We know what happens after, but it's like, wouldn't it be great to get the Enron story with like exactly what was, well, I guess there might be now, but exactly like who, what, where, why
Mm-hmm.
of each
Definitely.
character, leading up to the scandal.
Well,
Yeah, one
yeah.
of the positive signs of this month's book is that every other book will look so much better afterwards in this year.
It is thick.
It's a little deceiving, but it is still long. I want to say that the hardbound book, comes in at, like over 550 pages, but, it's footnotes, it's a glossary, it's this and that. So, the real content is about 440 pages, which is still hefty, but it's a little it's a little, and the print is per page is
Large.
relatively large, so it's not. I started it 5 days ago, and I'm averaging about 20 pages or so a day, so it's moving along at a good clip.
Yeah. I'm going to share it. But have you ever heard this quote? The ordinary human being does not live long enough to draw any substantial benefit from his own experience, and no one, it seems, can benefit by the experiences of others. Being both a father and a teacher, I know we can teach our children nothing. Each must learn its lesson anew. And that's an Albert Einstein quote from October 26th, 1929.
Hmm.
Yeah, like that's not one that we hear quoted from Albert Einstein, is it?
Nope.
Never
So
heard that one.
I was like, oh, I love that when they find like obscure quotes instead of the ones that are always used for a particular person, you know? So I'm really looking forward to it. I almost wish I could just like show you the prologue, which is like it gets you really interested. Like how he just doesn't use history books to piece it together. It's pieced together from like letters or interviews and stories of people that he's interviewed. And he puts it get together that way, like kind of like Doris Kearns, Doris something Kearns, right?
Doris Kearns
Yes,
Goodwin.
Goodwin.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't say that I recall ever having read anything from Andrew Ross Sorkin. I do follow what he has to say sometimes in current events. But he definitely has impressed me in the first, 100 pages, let's say, as, a gifted storyteller of history.
Right. I think I might read Too Big to Fail after this. Um,
I mean, this book continues to populate the bestseller
mhm.
list. This past Sunday's New York Times book review was still sitting number one in terms of paper bound book sales.
Yeah. It's just like that other book that we're gonna read in next month or the month after, March, right?
Yep. Yeah, I definitely want to. I'm gonna mark my calendar because I want to see the. I've read it once. I'm gonna re. I read the physical book. I'm going to listen to the Audible version again when March rolls around, and I want to make sure I see the movie before we're done with our conversations. Project Hail Mary is being released in theaters, at least in the US, on March 20th.
March 20th.
So if we have our second, March conversation about that book between the 20th and the end of the month, and, if a couple of us or some of us get a chance to not only read it, but see the movie, it might be interesting to kind of compare and contrast.
I think so too. That would be fun, yeah. Let's see, January. Okay, we have our February dates, the 11th and the 25th. And then, I mean, our March dates should be the same, really, right? The 11th and the 25th. Yeah, that
Perfect.
works out well. The release date for you guys, anyway, is the 20th. So I don't know if we might be a little bit behind, but whatever.
That'll put a movie watching weekend in there. So excellent.
You guys just do it once a month, or is it every Friday is movie night, or?
No, but we end up going probably on average twice a month.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. I mean, there's a theater that's maybe 2.5, 3 miles from our house, so it's really convenient.
Do you love the ultra processed popcorn?
I can't even handle the smell, but my wife not only gets it, but she puts that fake imitation butter flavoring all over it.
Did he
Oh,
did he talk about that in this book? Did he talk about the butter and the popcorn, the microwave popcorn? It was made from something weird.
Yeah, I don't specifically recall it,
I
but
don't.
yeah, yeah,
No, I don't think he did.
again, if you're microwaving something to cook it, it's probably not a good thing to be
Yeah, I
eating.
Oh,
can't
I'm
remember.
gonna I'm gonna tell you how you gotta microwave a sweet potato. It is the most efficient way to cook that sucker in on
Yes.
scale. And I know the radiation's probably not good for you, but I appreciate being able to rock one out in 6 minutes in front of me and be done.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I've done that too. I've got one sitting in the refrigerator calling my name for the last
I
week.
got something for you. Can do it for a snack then. You're gonna be shocked at this, but split it open and put peanut butter and jelly on it. It's so good.
What? On a sweet potato?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Do it.
Michelle, do you mean
You'll
cook it
thank
from
me.
raw?
Yeah, you poke a bunch of holes in it, or I mean, if you've got time to cook one in an Instapot or in your oven, fine too. Just a cooked sweet potato in general, and then you break it open and you put peanut butter and
Yeah.
whatever kind of jelly or fruit you want on it. Oh my God, so good.
Oh
Ah,
wow, I've never tried it that
never,
way. I'd try it.
never thought of that. I usually just like roast them in my oven.
Yeah, so it'll work as long as it's warm because it melts the peanut butter a little bit, and then whatever kind of jelly, jam, or fruit you want on it. So good.
I do love melted peanut butter. Something about it.
Oh man, I have not tried doing chocolate chips on top of that, but maybe. Like maybe that would also be lovely next time. But if you have one left and it's not enough to make a meal for like whatever you need, yeah, that's my favorite go-to for the use of the microwave that isn't ultra processed, except for
And
the
it's just
radiation.
6 minutes.
Well, I use the potato button because it's so clever. It
All
stops
right.
cooking when it's
I
done.
forgot about the
Now,
potato button.
I will warn you, and this is way down the rabbit hole, but when I was pregnant with my son, I worked at a customs brokerage firm and I worked on a different floor than the kitchen. And I put my sweet potato in there for a snack in the afternoon, and I was staying late to get some stuff done. And all of a sudden, I go down, I'm like, oh yeah, my potato. I go down to the kitchen, and it had like caught fire essentially in the microwave. It was black smoke like coming out of the thing, and it stunk so bad. And I'm here, like, totally fat pregnant, grabbing this like smoking thing with the oven mitts and running down 4 flights of stairs and throwing it in the trash can out in the street, the metal bin, so that if it caught fire, it wasn't going to burn the place down, and nobody else was there. Like it was just me. Like there were, I think IT was there on the top floor, but like nobody was around. And here I am trying to burn the place down, microwaving. So watch it because you can't always trust those terrible machines. I'm a little triggered by it, but I still do it. I just watch it. I never walk away because it's sugar based. So if it gets too hot,
Oh,
it burns
right.
fast. Yeah.
Yep, good old glucose.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to seeing you at the end of next month, Michelle.
Ooh, San Antonio, baby. We're gonna
Yeah,
get some maybe sunshine. Maybe Texas can stop having snow by the time we get there. That'd be
yeah, I
lovely.
think that'll happen.
I'm
Um,
excited. Good. I'm glad you're coming.
yeah, and what's your topic for your talk?
Um, yeah, building a compliance-driven data culture. So I'm gonna get into the
Ooh, I
weeds.
like
Yeah,
it.
into the weeds of how to infiltrate your business by creating data that works for compliance. Something that never gets thought of when they're doing the magical data stuff.
No
So yeah,
kidding.
excited for it.
Very cool. Yeah, no, this time was it the year before only? Was it this time last year? This conference was in Orlando?
Yeah, isn't it crazy? It's only been
That's
a
just
year.
a year ago, and it feels like
I
it was like
know.
a century ago.
I know.
Yeah, the
I'm
last
excited.
year has been long.
We've gotten kind of rolled with this, with what we do for work. Everyone else knows what it is now, though. So there you go.
Yes, that's true. Um, yeah, any last words about ultra processed people? Like, who do you think would enjoy this? I think, like, maybe my nutritionist cousin might enjoy this.
I haven't taken the time to look at the actual, written reviews that people submitted in support of their ratings. Um, So it might be interesting to go back and say, oh, those people who rated it 4 or 5, you know, what were they saying? What did they find so redeeming to
Right.
give it type of score?
Yeah,
I'd have
no,
to,
it's us.
I'd
Sorry?
have to see if it's ever been professionally reviewed,
Mm.
because like in a profession, because professional reviews like are like are literary critiques. So that would allow me to see to get a sense of the factual merit behind the book.
I just thought because this Financial Times said it was a fearless investigation, I thought he was going to tell us something like groundbreaking, like the Teflon story or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just the setting. So the people who pick up the book uh, don't find a lot of new things in it, and people who should pick up this book, they just don't because they don't care.
Right.
Agreed.
Wow. Yeah, well said.
And there's a part towards the end of this book where he sums up, where he says, if you want to stop eating ultra processed food, it will cost you a lot more time and money. And that's the whole book summed up in one sentence. He could have saved so much time with just saying that at the
Are you
beginning.
kidding me? That was the last.
Yeah.
I was going to go to the last chapter. Like, I might finish it. I mean, it's not, it's not bad to know or to refresh myself on these ideas to keep up with um, the healthcare system and all that stuff. But I just couldn't do it this month.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
last 20% of the book was relatively readable. I'm not saying enjoyable, but almost. But it was a tedious read.
Very. Like this last 3 chapters were a little more forgiving.
Yeah.
Because there were more of those. Well, I listened to the Audible version, and when you listen to the Audible version, there are parts of it that where there are actual interview style segments where he's having two-way dialogue with his colleague, and then he also did one with his brother at the very end, because he encouraged his brother to participate in this same experiment that he put himself through.
Right.
Right. I think I could do the experiment if I lived on a tropical island. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's when I'll try the experiment. But I'm really looking forward to 1929, Inside the Greatest Crash in Wall Street History and How It Shattered a Nation. And I hope you are too. I've invited so many people to this February book club, but they're probably too busy with their January goal of, my idea of or I can't remember. Yeah, next year or next month is Lunar New Year, so it's a new year.
Year of the Horse.
Yeah. So my idea of dry January is it's a dry run. It's a dry run for the Lunar New Year, which is when my New Year starts. So I saved myself all that anguish of getting to the end of January and oh God, I didn't, I didn't. I'm starting to lose my um motivation to go to the gym and all that. I just started all in February.
That's
Yeah,
something.
it is. Everyone's gone by then, so you're not
Yes.
like clamoring for the same equipment or yeah.
Yeah, January is the worst time to visit all these places because everyone is super hyped for 4 weeks and then everything is empty.
Yeah. So yeah, no. Looking forward to our next book. Yeah, no. This one will be a finish for sure.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
We'll see you guys in 2 weeks, right?
Yep.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Sounds
Yep.
good. See you
Bye,
then.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.